Hello everyone, my name is Catherine, and today I will give you a brief presentation about the strategies and or criteria of quantitative research process, research purpose, research questions, and hypotheses. First, let's see the research problems. Research problems is an issue or concern that an investigator presents and justifies in a research study. And there are some strategies for identifying research problems. So, first, you should locate research problem. That is, whenever you look at any published study, you should consider the following questions, such as what's the issue or problem in the study, what controversy leads to the need for a study, and what concern is being addressed behind the study. And then you should determine whether a problem should be researched or not. So you should take these factors into consideration. For example, can you study the problem? Do you have the access to the research site, or do you have time, adequate resources, and necessary skills to carry out the research? Or should you study the problem? Does it advance knowledge, or does it contribute to practice? Or will your present study fill a gap in the existing literature, or replicate a past study that examined different participants and different research sites? Or will your study extend past research, or just examine the topic more thoroughly? So when you develop your research problem, should take these factors into consideration. And there are five elements of a problem statement. So the first is topic. Topic is a subject area, maybe something you're very interested or something. Second is issue. That is a concern or the problem or something that needs a solution. And then the evidence for the issue. The evidence can come from the literature and also can come from your practical experiences. And then there is the deficiencies in the evidence. After you read this literature, after you read or materials, you should find the deficiencies in the evidence. In this body of evidence, what is missing and what do we need to know more about the topic? And finally, is the remedies about these deficiencies. That means how to address these problems and what we'll do for select audiences. So it means that who can benefit from your research study. That is the strategies of developing research problems. And also there are some criteria. The first is you should measure variables. So what is the key variables in your topic? And second, you should assess the impact of these variables on an outcome. And then you can test theories or broad explanations. And the question should apply results to a large number of people. And that's the research problems. And then comes to the research purpose. Research purpose is a major intent or objective of the study. There are some strategies for specifying the research purpose. And a quantitative purpose statement identifies the variables, for example, the relationship of these variables. And for the strategies of research purpose, first, you can use a single sentence such as the purpose of this study is, or use possible theory to support your purpose. And you can also use some quantitative words such as relate, compare, describe, and so on. And then the third part is about the research questions. Research questions are those that the researcher would like to answer or address in the study. First, it should pose a question, begin with words such as how, what, or why. And the second is you should specify the variables and use the words describe, compare, or relate to indicate the action or connection among these variables. And then you should indicate the participants and research site for the study. And about as to the criteria of research questions. The first one is the research questions should be very interesting, can create the reader's interest, and they must be very useful, can be very significant, and they should be focused on the topic and very clear. Some simple question and very specific about the relationship between the variables. So that's some qualities of a good research question. And the last part is the hypothesis. Hypothesis are the predictions about pattern of observable measurement. And there are three types of quantitative hypothesis. The first one is null hypothesis. It means there is no change in the dependent variable between two groups, experimental group and control group. There'll be no significant difference between the two groups. And the second type is called the rational alternative hypothesis. It means the hypothesis specifies the direction of the change in the dependent variable the researcher predicts will take place. For example, there are two groups. One is experiment group and another one is control group. Maybe the hypothesis is the experimental group score will be higher than the control group. And the third type is non-directional alternative hypothesis. It's opposite from the second type. It means the hypothesis doesn't specify the direction. It means there will be a difference, but doesn't specify whether which group is higher or lower. So that's the hypothesis. So I talk about the research problems, research purposes, research questions, and research hypothesis. And comes to the last step, application. So as to the part application, first I must think about the topic. Probably my quantitative research proposal be focused on narrow reading to increase students' vocabulary. So that is my general topic. So then I should read various materials related to the topic, and then to identify the specific problem, and then find some evidence to support the problem, why there exists the problem, and according to the problem, specify the purposes of my research, and also specify questions, and the questions should be consistent with the purposes, and finally develops the correspondent hypothesis. And that is my presentation. Thank you very much.